Alright, so the next immigration status is the admission scheme for Mainland Talents and Professionals. In Hong Kong we have the floodgates policy. What that means is that if you're a mainlander, you want to come to Hong Kong, it's almost impossible. That's the starting premise. The answer is no, straight away, unless you fall within one of the schemes. And the admission scheme for Mainland Talents and Professionals was originally introduced in one guise before the handover in anticipation that we were going to have to accommodate mainlanders to come and live and work in Hong Kong once we'd reverted to sovereignty. It then got merged. There was two of these programs in actual fact, but a couple of years after the handover it got merged into one, and now it's a program that's been on the books since around about the handover. And the audit report showed that there are approximately a third of the number of visas that are issued under general employment policy that are issued under the admission scheme for Mainland Talents and Professionals. And normally the conditions which prevail for approval are essentially identical to the general employment policy, but there is an expectation that there's an advanced degree in play, or there's significant working experience in the hands of the mainlanders that are making applications under this policy. The process is almost exactly the same. The employer must be well established. If it's a new startup, there may be questions asked by the Immigration Department as to the suitability of that new startup being a suitable and credible sponsor, unless it's very well funded. These applications, as I say, follow the same process, follow the same documentation set, but because they're issued under the floodgates policy, the Immigration Department are going to probably ask for information and detail on the applications that's 3 or 4 times more involved than if it's an application under the general employment policy. So they're looking really, really close as to whether or not these people are the best of the best that can come out of China to work for us, and that indeed no local person can reasonably expect it to uptake this work. So that's the Mainland Talents and Professionals scheme. These applications normally take 6 to 8 weeks, but we're now in the summer rush. Put an application in today and you're probably more like 3 months to approval, unless it's a very, very, very well established company and maybe the guy's got a PhD and 10 years of experience in astrophysics or something like that. But in the main, it's a much more involved process. Interestingly, the audit report stated that 96% of all of these applications were approved. So I guess there's a certain amount of screening that goes on, self-screening as to whether or not you're going to be sufficiently qualified to get approved under this visa type. Once you get approved, for all practical purposes, it's as though you have an employment visa issued under the general employment policy, so you can't change employers easily. You've got to go through the change of sponsorship process if you are going to switch employers while you're holding a visa issued under this scheme. Any questions? Yeah, of course.
I have a Wolfie up in China.
Yeah.
And I have an employee up there that is considering wanting to move to Hong Kong.
Yeah.
So it's kind of part of that first question I asked. If I wanted them to come down to actually be the director for the China company,
yeah.
Does that make it easier for them because there's that existing?
Potentially, yes. It depends how sophisticated the Wolfie is in China, how long it's established, how long they work for you, what his compensation is, what the scenario is in terms of the business that he's transferring into. Yeah, if it's an intercompany transferee situation and he's worked for you, she's worked for you for at least 1 year, but your Hong Kong company is well established, and I appreciate it's a number of years ago, so you can't, on the face of it, you'd qualify under that, but the immigration one would want to see what else is going on, all things considered, and what the interplay is between the Wolfie and the owning entity here, and what kind of business is going on. But it's certainly in the hunt to to get approved under this if all the boxes are ticked. Yeah.